First meetings are really important. It's an opportunity to create a really good impression of yourself, your colleagues, and your company. So here are some suggestions. First of all, do some research about your clients. You can do this by calling contacts who might know them, or through Facebook or LinkedIn, which should have details about their interests and their job. See if there's anything that you have in common or that you can ask about in an informed way. Get in touch with the administrator and make sure all the details of the trip have been finalised so that there are no last-minute changes. This includes the schedule, when they arrive, who's picking them up, where they're staying, and when they're visiting the company. In many cultures, this would normally be done at least 3 weeks in advance of the actual visit. Make sure the colleagues that are going to meet them are fully informed of the details. When the visitor arrives, you and your team should look professional, well-dressed and properly groomed. Make sure you have your business cards with you, that they are up to date, and that you have enough of them. You don't want to run out in the middle of greeting a group of visitors. Generally, first meetings demand a formal approach, especially if the person you are meeting is a client or someone of high status within your own organisation. Introductions to build business relationships between people of similar or equal status are usually more relaxed. In the case of a formal introduction, titles should be appropriately used. Always introduce people by saying their title and full name first, and then follow with a brief but interesting or relevant piece of information about the person you're introducing. To take one example, if you are introducing a client Ms. A to a colleague B, start with Ms. A, this is B, not the other way round. The same is true for introducing older people to younger people, senior ranking professionals to junior ranking professionals, and hosts to their guests. If you're not sure of a person's title, use their first and family name. It's up to the guest to decide whether they would prefer to use first names from then on or stick with titles and family names. You should follow their lead. If you're introducing someone you might work or partner with, or someone who's of equal social or professional standing, you can use their first name. For example, "It's a pleasure to meet you, Paula." Make sure you brief your junior colleagues. When they are introduced, their response should be genuine, short, and simple. They should also repeat the person's name at the end of the greeting. Repeating the name of the person you were just introduced to serves two purposes. It shows respect, and it helps to remember the person's name. It's easy to forget names and titles and job descriptions, so keep everything written down if possible. If you do forget someone's name, just apologise and ask them to remind you. Don't try to guess.
What are the current trends in the way people communicate at work?
Well, a study recently looked at the various ways people communicate depending on the reason they're communicating.
What sort of people did the study cover?
Business professionals in the USA and other countries such as India and China.
So, what are the main ways professionals communicate at work?
Perhaps surprisingly, the old technologies such as desk phones and email still have a very important role in the workplace. According to the survey, 83% of respondents said that emailing was crucial to overall success and productivity at work, and 81% said the same thing about telephoning. However, these are integrated with a wide range of newer communication technologies.
What other ways were mentioned?
Well, nearly two-thirds, 64% of those surveyed, said their use of instant messaging had increased over the previous 5 years, and 61% said the same about social media. Despite these increases in use, only 33% said instant messaging and 19% social media were actually crucial to success and productivity at work.
What do these figures suggest?
The study concluded that users select different media according to their place, purpose and personality. For example, video and web conferences are selected for brainstorming and planning, instant messaging for simple questions and responses, whilst social media is used mainly for networking and news updates. Despite the popularity of email, only a tiny number, 3%, said they used it for complicated decision-making, preferring the phone or face-to-face interaction.
Were there any other factors?
Yes, the study showed that professionals spend a significant amount of time outside the office. So 27% said that they spend a quarter to a half of their time outside the office. These people are dependent on their smartphones to keep in touch with what's going on back in the office. At the same time, they value face-to-face communication with their customers and suppliers. Digital communication plays its part, but is by no means the whole story.
What were the conclusions for social media?
Generally speaking, there is currently a large gap between work and personal or leisure use. 66% frequently use social media sites outside work, in comparison with only 43% in work. However, given that social networking sites are visited by 3/4 of global consumers who go online, this is likely to change. Social networking sites are certain to become more prominent within the workplace too.
And are there any differences in the age groups of people using these media?
Absolutely. Modern-day businesses will increasingly need a social media presence to attract and engage with the younger generation for whom social networking is an essential part of their lives.